Hey, my name is Dan. I used to work at the biggest dealership in the country, and now I teach fine folks like yourself how not to get fucked when buying a car. In this video, I want to go over an app that is unfortunately increasing its way in popularity, and it is probably one of the most dangerous and most cancerous car apps that is out there. It's taking off right now, but I'm hoping it's gonna get squashed by common sense. This video that we're about to watch is 10 minutes long. It's made on JD Power Conference for the dealerships, about this app. And this video is not supposed to be seen by you at all. I'm actually very surprised that this video is even on YouTube. I actually downloaded just so I would have a copy of it. So let's dive into it.
From our studios in Atlanta, this is CBT News.
I'm a former dealer, and when I heard about FAIR and how it works, I was blown away. So for the dealers that are watching right now, kind of give us the 101 on what FAIR is and how it helps them sell more cars.
You know, I think that...
So listen very carefully to what they have to say. Keep in mind, the guy with the beard is going to be the guy that's the inventor or founder of this app, and the guy on the right side is a ex-car salesman or ex-dealership owner. He's just doing an interview. So this guy, listen to what he just said. How this app will help dealerships sell more cars. Be very keen to what they have to say.
Dealers right now are sort of thinking about how is autonomous technology, ride sharing, the shift to electric, I mean, how is that really going to affect their business? And I think there's a lot of anxiety around all the change that's occurring. You know, from an entrepreneur's point of view, it's a pretty exciting time to be innovating and building new companies. And I think that this time around, for me, you know, and part of the reason that I think I'm here to speak to dealers at JD Power is that it's a really exciting time.
All these dealers that you see here, they are at JD Power to learn how to take more of your money, how to have some more efficient sales, and how to get as most money out of your pocket as physically possible. They're there to learn how to increase their sales.
To be a dealer, because I think a lot of the change is really going to help dealers to sell more cars.
Absolutely.
I think that, you know, a lot of these solutions are about making it a better experience for the consumer, and anything that's going to help the consumer but while helping the dealer to sell the car and move the metal is going to be a good and positive development. And so, you know, what we've developed is a really idealized digital experience. I think modern consumers clearly want to do more on their phone than ever before.
Right.
The way that we consume music, media of all kind, it's all based on our phones. It's based on sort of a commitment-free or a lower commitment type model. And so I think that, you know, what we traditionally think of as car ownership is fundamentally changing. The idea that, you know, you get all of the status, the optionality, and the, you know, sort of security that comes with owning a car, but without the big commitment and this idea of going out and borrowing a big pile of money to buy a depreciating
and
asset.
Now 84 months seems to be the norm in many cases, right?
Well, you know, the average car.
By the way, if you're financing your car for 84 months, your car gotta be worth like 100 fucking grand at least. I mean, don't fall for this 84 months financing because you will pay so much more money in interest, it's ridiculous.
Costs about a third of the average consumer's net worth.
Wow.
It's almost half of their gross income.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, a car is only half of what we spend on mobility as consumers. We spend about 15% of our total gross income getting around, and that's usually in 6 areas. It's the car, maintenance, repair, fuel, accessories, and now we've got ride sharing as sort of an ad.
Yeah. And that number's only growing, right? I mean, that's...
Well, 15% is pretty static, but you know, it means if you're making $100,000 a year, you're spending about $15,000 a year on mobility, and about half of that's going to the car, half of it's going to everything else, and that means you're driving about a $600 a month car payment.
If you're driving a $600 a month car payment, man, I hope you're driving a $60,000 car. I hope your car is worth 60 grand, or at least used to be worth 60 grand. Because if you're driving a $30,000 or $40,000 Toyota or a fucking Honda or something like that, you got ripped off big time. Let's keep going. There's way more. We're just starting.
So it's a really big part of modern life, and I think that modern consumers have really said binarily they don't want to go through with the commitment or the confrontation that they've had to in the past, and that's where there's an opportunity to reinvent it. I think what's happening with subscriptions, both on the new and the
Did he just say subscriptions as in we're not gonna own cars anymore? We're just gonna pay for them monthly like we do with Netflix? Okay, let's see where this leads to.
used car side are really exciting because what that represents to a dealer is a sale.
Oh, gotcha. I see. So he wants to have more revenue because we're gonna pay in subscriptions and there's gonna be more sales going on. Makes perfect sense. Where do I start my own dealership?
And that represents also a sale to a happy customer that's going to come back into the dealership, that's going to need service work, that's going to be another opportunity to sell that car and go through the cycle a little bit faster. The average hold time on a used car today is 5 to 6 years. If we can get that velocity up to, consumers holding cars for, a year to 18 months on average, that's just.
Remember the shit sandwich you had to go through when you bought your last car? Negotiating with the salesman, negotiating with the dealership, terms and conditions, monthly payment, down payment, all the bullshit you had to go through. Then you have to go to financing and sit through that 3-hour bullshit ordeal just so you can get out of the dealership with your car. You're there to give them your money, and they make it so hard for you to buy a car. He wants that shit sandwich to you served every 15 months, not every 5-6 years like regular people do. He wants you to go through it every 15 months.
More opportunity for the dealer, and I think it's a really good time to be a dealer, and I think we're about to see a real renaissance on the used car side. We've got so many of these late model returns coming back off lease. You've got nearly 6 million lease returns in the next 18 months that are projected to come back into a high production market, but that is a very big percentage of the overall population of cars that are out there.
And it's making dealers very nervous, right?
That is actually very true to what he said. He said there is a shit ton of cars coming back from the leasing, okay? They were leased 3, 4, 5 years ago, and now they're coming back. It's about 6 million cars that are coming back. So if you're thinking about buying a brand new car within the next 10 years, you're gonna get so fucked. Oh my God. When you're gonna be ready to sell your car will plummet in price like a rock. It's gonna lose at least 50% of its value in the first 3-4 years. And this has not been revealed to me by Jesus himself. I did not see a dream. It's not a revelation. It's just common sense. There's 6 million cars that are coming back to market, okay? People are buying 11 million cars, 12 million, 13 million cars a year. It depends on which statistics you look at. Let's say 12 million cars a year in America. There's gonna be an influx of 6 million cars extra. What's gonna happen to your new car once you're ready to sell it if there's more cars than there are people who are ready to buy it? Demand, pricing, you know anything about that? Your car will absolutely plummet in price. If you're thinking about buying a new car in the next 10 years, stay the hell away from it. Buy something that's already has been depreciated. So when it depreciates even more, 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're not taking a $10,000, $15,000 hit.
I think anything that represents change is nervous. It represents an opportunity for anxiety, but
He's talking about change and dealerships being nervous. They have every reason to be nervous right now because there's a 12-inch dildo aimed at their ass because they know that their sales are gonna suffer immensely. Dealerships make money from profit on cars. This is profit on a car. What happens when there's increased supply of product? Profit goes down. Imagine if it started to rain gold tomorrow. How valuable will the gold be? Not very valuable because everybody has it, right? So if there is more cars, the prices of cars are going down. What happens to the dealership profit? It's going down. Are they nervous? Fuck yeah, they're nervous. That's why this guy wants us to be buying cars every 15 months so they can have a lot of sales with this little profit. Like in McDonald's, there's not a lot of profit on a cheeseburger, but once you multiply by millions of cheeseburgers, there's a lot of profit.
I think what we're seeing is it represents an opportunity for dealers that are leaning in and want to relate to a modern consumer using these technologies and these new innovative tactics. I think it represents a real big opportunity to get a higher velocity and greater turn, and these are real transactions.
Right. So enters Fair.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about Fair and exactly how it works.
Well, so Fair really came out of sort of my almost career-long focus on trying to really think about what's next.
So this guy, the founder of this Fair app, he used to own TrueCar. This guy is super rich. I mean, he's multi-millionaire. And his job was to make sure, he was a CEO, his job was to make sure that the dealerships that were working with his websites were selling cars. Just so you know where he's coming from. He has extremely close relationship with dealerships.
For the modern consumer, and the promise of technology has always been simplicity and savings.
Right.
And so we're really creating an idealized, totally digital experience, and this is a totally new way to get a car on your phone, but everything that you get through Fair is a used car, and these are used cars that are for sale on a...
By the way, I have done some research on this app. This is not just me watching this video for the first time. I have done quite a bit of research. If you buy a car with this app, well, not a buy, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of buying. This is not a buying thing. If you get a car with this app, you will pay 30% more. Just keep in mind.
Dealer's lot near the consumer.
Okay.
So we operate with all the appropriate licenses, but when a consumer in our app gives us a scan of their driver's license, we immediately approve them for a monthly payment, and then they are presented with vehicles that are for sale in their area at dealers' lots.
Okay.
And then when they select a car, they're selecting it based on a monthly payment, not on a selling price, because we don't sell them the car. When the customer...
Let me get this straight. Since he's not selling us the car, we don't own the car. I always wanted to make payments on the car, have insurance on the car, and never own the car, but be also responsible for anything that happens to the car. You hit a pothole, you bent a wheel, fuck up the tire, sir, you're responsible for that. Your water pump goes out, congratulations, that's coming out of your pocket. Radio, AC goes out, coming out of your pocket. Anything that happens to your car, coming out of your pocket. Congratulations.
Picks out a car,
Right.
we buy that car and simultaneously enter into a contract with that customer to be able to use that vehicle. And it's not a loan, it's not a lease, it's a new contract, but
It's neither a loan or a lease?
it's neither a loan nor a lease. It sits right on top of all of a deep body of law around both.
It's not a loan, it's not a lease, you're not buying a car. What the fuck is this? What is this? I watched this before, and I honestly, I'll tell you the conclusion I came up with. It's a bad conclusion. It's a really bad deal. I mean, it's what it is. It sounds to me, it has everything that a rental car would have. You just pay monthly. You want a car for a month? No problem. Here's a car for a month. Okay. However, if anything breaks on the car, you're responsible. You know, if anything breaks on the car, on the rental car, I don't give a fuck. I'm not even gonna take that car back to the rental place. They're gonna tow that bitch back to wherever it's going to, and they're gonna bring me a new car, and they're probably gonna pay for Uber. Yeah, you're not gonna get any of that with the rental. I mean, with the renting from this company.
But it's a totally new way for a customer to get a car without commitment. They can return that car at any time.
Wow.
They have a start fee. The start fee is sort of akin to a down payment or a cap cost reduction, but it's actually a real fee.
Okay.
I am so glad he said this. It's actually a real fee. Opposed to a not real fee, a fake fee. That's right. Every dealership fee that you're gonna go for, bite onto, or pay for, I don't know how else to say it, that's a fake fee. You don't have to pay any of the dealership fees. The commutation fee, bullshit fees. All you have to pay is state requirement shit, which is registration and taxes. That's it. All the dealership fees, you don't have to pay any of them. In fact, I actually made a video on bullshit dealership fees and how to avoid them.
And so we actually give the customer the option of returning that car, whether they want to have the car for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, doesn't matter.
And with no catch to say you've got to take another car. They can walk away from it if they wish?
They can walk away from the car. We hope they stay with us for life.
Sure.
I mean, our belief is that we're going to create a recurring revenue relationship with that customer around a subscription to a...
I'm sorry. I get a little emotional. I get a lot emotional around this part, and it's just so... I'm sorry. This man promised change, and he delivered. A change that nobody was asking for, but he brought it to you. You didn't want it, but you got it. I'm sorry. I just know how much my life is going to change. I'm looking forward to it. I will never own a car again. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Remember how, I don't even know where to start with this. I don't care if you're 25 or 55 years old. I bet you're waiting for that day where you're going to pay off your car and put that money to your savings, vacation, house payment, medical bills, or anything else. Forget about all that. You're gonna drive a car for the rest of your life without owning it. You're gonna make car payments for the rest of your life. How would you like that? Instead of paying your car off and owning it and driving no car payment car for next 5, 7, 10 years, however you want to keep it, you're gonna pay a car payment for the rest of the life. Does that sound like an exciting proposition? Oh, and you're fully responsible for repairs on this car.
Better way to get access to mobility, get access to the car.
Sure.
But that's okay. We don't mind if they rotate and they get a SUV in the winter and they get a convertible in the summer.
So you've combined a third-party lead element with an approval process and actually approving this customer and then identifying that vehicle on a lot.
What's really important is we're not selling leads. We're, the dealers that are a part of our network, they sell us cars.
Right.
That's it.
That's pretty cool.
And we are not asking them to pay us.
Right.
We're not asking them to pay a marketing expense.
Right.
It is, do you want to sell the car, yes or no? And these cars are these cars are priced based on their advertised price. So when a dealer advertises a car with a VIN at a certain price, we show that in the app. If the customer likes it and they select that car, we pay the dealer the price they're advertising that car for sale for.
Okay, so you can see why when I first started the conversation about being a former dealer myself, it sounds so good, it may be too good to be true. What's the catch?
Well, from a dealer's point of view, what we've created is a used vehicle leasing app.
Right.
I'm sorry, what did you create?
Not a loan, it's not a lease, it's a new concept.
Thank you.
There's really not a lot of options for used vehicle leasing today, but leasing is a really interesting opportunity for the dealer to offer the customer more car for less money because the customer isn't financing the full cap cost or the value of the car. They're just financing depreciation plus fees plus taxes.
Okay.
And so very similar to what we can offer on the new car side, the consumer gets more car for less money without the long-term commitment.
Right. And what states is this available in? Is it available nationwide or?
So we just got started 5 months ago. We recently acquired the Uber Exchange leasing business, and we are now Uber's exclusive partner nationwide.
Wow, congratulations.
So we're currently operating in California, but we will be operating nationwide in the next 6 to 9 months. So we are rolling out, city by city over the next 9 months.
So you need dealers. I mean, I would imagine that in order for you to be successful, you need these dealers to be on board with you. And it sounds to me like it's a no-brainer for a dealer to be on board with you.
It's a car sale.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is it?
It's a car sale.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just needed to hear that one more time.
So, I've been part of some high-friction moments in the car business before,
Yes,
and I think that really by partnering with a guy like George Bauer, who was the CEO of Mercedes Credit Corporation, BMW Financial Services, he did the same thing for Tesla.
Sure.
I mean, his going-in premise was, can we please build something that is good for dealers that drives a sale? And so what we've built is...
I'm sorry, what did you build? Something for dealers that drives a sale. Did I hear you right?
Something that is good for dealers that drives a sale.
Okay, gotcha.
A full gross transaction for the dealer at no additional
Which
cost.
is phenomenal.
It's a pretty exciting thing for me to be able to come back to a dealer convention or a dealer meeting where people are talking about what's next for the dealer, where there's a lot of anxiety, and say, we're here to help you move more metal. And there's absolutely, it's a very different approach. Fair is an inclusive approach versus, I think, what we were doing at some of these other businesses. We're not trying to get a fee. All we're doing is trying to help consumers get access to mobility a different way, and in a way that works for the industry. So it's a good thing for everybody.
And it will be both for highline vehicles, used vehicles, as well as...
Well, so we're doing it today on used cars, but I think you're going to also see a real proliferation of subscription models on the new car side. Of course, those will have to be in some degree
So this guy doesn't want you to own a car at all. He just wants to have you drive a car that he owns, but you're paying for it. There's actually people that are doing this. I think they must be aliens, because I don't know any human with common sense that would do this.
Subsidized by the new car manufacturers, but they're already doing that today by sending cars to fleet, and they're already doing that with leasing. So I think it's sort of interesting to see how the market's going to get conditioned on the new car side. I think what's happening with Book Cadillac and with Porsche and with Volvo, and I mean, I think that the way we access a car, this idea that you're going to have to go borrow a big pile of money to buy a depreciating asset, I think that's going away.
Hold on a second. So you suggest that I shouldn't borrow money at a small percentage rate to go buy a depreciating asset that will help me and my family have a better life and actually make more money, because I can drive to work or I can do my own things on it. You're telling me I shouldn't buy a depreciating asset, but this guy, this beautiful human being right here, this guy will buy millions of depreciating assets and have you pay for them. For those of you that still don't understand what this guy is doing and how this whole business thing works, here's the dealership, here's the car, okay? He's gonna buy this car and he's gonna own it. You are gonna rent this car and you're gonna pay for it. 5, 6, 7 years later, millions of cars later, I mean, he's planning to have tens of millions of cars. I mean, this is not a hobby, this is not a weekend thing. He raised, I think, over $50 million in capital from investors to do this. This is a serious thing they're doing. He's gonna own millions of cars and you're gonna pay for them. 5, 6, 7 years later, after they're paid off, okay, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna sell them. He's not gonna keep millions of cars with 100,000 miles on them. How much is 3 million cars multiplied by $3,000 is worth? That's $9 billion. You might be thinking, Dan, no one's gonna buy, used cars in America like that, Did you know that there's other countries that would love to do this? Let's think about this. Mexico, South America, then we have Africa, Eastern Europe, then we have India, just Eastern countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. Then we have Asia like China, Thailand, Korea, Vietnam, and then we have Russia. All these countries would love to have a $4,000 or $5,000 car with 100,000 miles on them. They would love to have them. He's gonna sell them at $3,000 or $2,000 a piece at wholesale to him. He's gonna be so fucking rich in 5 years if this thing works out. I hope it doesn't. I hope nobody falls for this shit, but if it does, I mean, this guy is making money literally out of thin air.
Right.
I think that's not necessarily a smart financial decision.
Sure, consumers don't want it, and it's tougher for the dealers that have that, right? I mean,
I'll tell you,
you're taking that customer
the
out
average
of the
car
market.
dealer has to spend a lot of time developing the skill set internally to do the F&I two-step, and it's a high friction conversation with a customer because most people cannot afford to pay cash for their car.
Right.
Auto finance and leasing is absolutely essential for getting people behind the wheel.
Right.
That's not going to change.
Right.
What we've really started to do on the used car side and what we're seeing on the new car side is that this idea of paying as you go, and the idea of paying for depreciation starts with having a fundamental, deep understanding of empirically.
Here's a free 99 tip for you. If you don't want to pay for depreciation, don't buy a new car. It's kind of easy.
What is a car really worth?
Right.
The wholesale and the retail marketplace, both on the new and the used car side, has become so clear about value that we can now accurately price depreciation and fees so that the customer is paying the right price and they're never being...
The customer is paying the right price. Really? And who is deciding that right price? Come on, this is a real question. Who would decide that right price? The dealership? This guy here? Who? Really, you want to pay a right price. You want to pay a fair price. You know what I want? I want the best price. I want the best monthly payment. I want the best down payment, which probably would be 0. I want the best car. I want the car that has the most options. I want shit that's the best. I bet he's flying the best airplane that's possible. I bet he's not flying coach. His kids are going to the best school. He has the best wife, the best house, the best cars. He's not settling for anything, but he wants us to have mediocre everything. You'll get an okay car, you'll get an okay payment, which you can't even sell that car later. Fair, oh my God. Just the name of this app, it brings cancer to my soul.
Being obligated to sell that car at the end of the term. They don't have any of that commitment or any of that headache.
Wow.
So we remove all of the complexity for the consumer. They don't handle tax, title, registration, any of that. And so we've made it just an easy way to have an all-in, single cost of ownership, all on your phone.
Right. So for the dealers that are watching right now, I know that the next question is going to be, how do I learn more about this? Because as I said, it sounds so incredibly good for a dealer without any downside, right?
Look, you can just go to Fair.
Here's the thing that really blows my mind. He hasn't said anything about the customer. He hasn't said, it's the best deal for the customer. You're going to get 30% off. There's a completely new way of buying cars. You don't have to fuck around with the dealerships anymore. You're going to get the best possible price. No, I mean, when I see like a pizza ad or a mattress ad or something like that, you're going to get the best price. You're going to have 0 down payment. You're going to get the best monthly payment. Here, none of that. None of that. And that is really what blows my mind. I understand this is for the dealerships, but he's not talking about us for actually getting best of anything at all. This guy can't even say best at all because nothing of this is best. All right, let's finish watching this video and see what conclusion we come up with.
Fair.com, and you can learn everything about us. Okay. But obviously, as we roll out, we're looking for dealer partners, so it's a pretty easy way to find out about who we are. But I'm also Scott at Fair. You can email me directly.
You heard it there, Scott at Fair. Doesn't get any easier, right?
That's it.
Scott Painter, thank you.
Okay, when he says Scott at Fair and he wants people to email him, if you're going to be thinking about this company at all and doing business with them, email him. Ask him this question. If dealerships, banks, credit unions, investors, and this guy are all going to be making money, there's a pie that needs to get divided into 5 pieces. Where is this pie coming from? Where's all this pile of money coming from? And why is it coming now that it wasn't there before? It wasn't there before because it used to be that you go to a dealership and dealers would make money and financing companies would make money. All right? Now there's more parties to that pie. There's more mouths that wants to get onto that pie. So what has to happen to that pie? The pie has to increase. That money pool that everybody wants to be part of has to increase. How do you increase that? From your pocket. The reason that everybody is going to make money is because they're going to charge you more than regularly buying a used car. Or hell, even a new car for that matter, because eventually you're going to own a new car and it's going to be free. Well, not free, but less. I suggest buying used cars, as always. I never buy a new car. So if anybody is thinking about doing this, stay the hell away from this bullshit. Guys, man, it's our responsibility to provide everything best for our family. It's our job to go out and hunt the fucking dinner. It's our job to put the roof over the head. It's our job to make sure that our family is secure financially and has best of everything. It's our job. Why would we go for fair, settle for normal? What? Why would we do that? Why would we just go for okay? You can have the best car with the best car payment, with the lowest down payment, preferably zero. I like to have zero down payment. You can have that, but you gotta have some fucking balls to do that. You can't be going the easy way and trying to figure out, oh, well, what if I'll just pay more, fuck my family, waste a shit ton of money, and do absolutely zero work. No, you can't be doing that. Stop giving money to fuckers like these that absolutely don't deserve it. They're scamming us. This is the worst app I have ever seen. You will lose so much money on this app. It is absolutely ridiculous. I better stop before I burst into flames. So this is Dan. I'm signing out, and I'll see you on the internet.